Hello and good evening, you guys. Technically, it's almost 1 a.m. I was just making the themes for the NaNoWriMo thing that me and Micah are doing, and I finished like 3 different like theme packs, and I'm gonna show you guys how I tend to pick different like images that I want to write to, and I'm also gonna start trying to figure out in this vlog how I'm going to pick my own themes for Nano, which is not going great so far, but we're gonna go on We Heart It, and we're gonna go on Spotify, and I'm gonna try and find some songs and some images to write to, and see if I get any ideas from there. So the first theme pack was super simple, and I'm gonna put it right here while I explain it. I chose Intimate as a theme, and I found it while I was scrolling through We Heart It, and the first thing I saw was kind of like this really like lacy bra. And then I think I also saw like some lavender and some like clean laundry. You know how you always see those like kind of like cottony feeling posts? They just feel like clean and fresh, like those kind of like flat lays and like spreads of like people's beds and like fresh flowers and stuff like that. So I was kind of just thinking about that. I was thinking about like mugs and glasses and like a lip like left on there, and so like those kind of like little like intimate things and what all of those like closeness does. So then I thought of like warmth and breath and more things like that. And so then laundry was like, is it dirty laundry? Is it clean laundry? Hair, someone's like touch brushing up against you. Is it something that was left there? Is it a memory of that thing? And so intimate was pretty straightforward for me once I kind of like had that first image of it. The second one, I actually went with textures, and that lacy bra was like part of it. And then I just saw all of these. I love collecting things that I can feel. I tend to write towards things that I can feel like in between my fingers and like in my teeth. That is very much how I write. And so I put together just a bunch of textures that really drew my attention on We Heart It, and then I made them into a little collage, and I will also put those here. And yeah, that one, again, also very straightforward. I tried to go with things that were like different, things that were jagged, things that were soft, things that were smooth, things that felt like squishy. Yes, I just wanted to run my hands against all those things, and I try and visualize a situation in which I'd see those things or feel those things. And that's kind of how I tend to write poetry, and how I at least get an idea for the stuff that I write. I tend to do this thing that I call quick drafting, which is writing a bunch of poems very quickly. And that's why I tend to really like writing sprints. I like writing about 3 poems in like a 25-minute period, and they are in no way done. I write them all in kind of like fragmented forms, the images that are just coming to mind. And then probably a week or 2 weeks after that, I type them up. I do a bit of a minor revision process as I'm typing it up, changing little things here and there. And then after that, I'll print them out, and I'll kind of mark like lines that I didn't like, lines that I really like. Sometimes I have images from like different poems that I'll try and combine together, and I'll think like, oh, actually if I put these 2 poems together, they can make one really interesting one. And then sometimes I really like an image that a poem has, but I don't like the way that it was said. And so I kind of distance myself from that poem for a while, and then I'll be like, okay, what was I writing about in that poem? And I'll try and get to that space again, and then rewrite it completely while not looking at the other poem. So that's also another kind of like rewriting revision process I do. And for the last one, I kind of focused on like the Greek gods and their different kinds of powers, because I was both playing Hades and then I was watching a lot of True Blood, so I was still thinking of gods. And I was trying to think of different powers that all of them have, like gods of like agriculture and love and lust and fire and war and all these different things. And there's a lot of different places you can go with those. Each of those could actually be their own like chapbook on their own, and you could have a whole month's worth of stuff on just like war or on love or on like harvest and stuff like that. So I just kind of like put those out. Those are like more like vague prompts, probably the vaguest ones that I put out there. I just thought they were all really interesting. So that's the gods pack. And now I'm actually probably gonna go on a call with one of my friends real fast, and then I'm gonna get to work on my stuff. and just scroll for a bit and hopefully put together some new playlists. And yeah, we're gonna see how well this goes. Okay, so it's been like 3 weeks since I filmed the last piece. It's been a month, you guys. I was really stressed out as to the state of where I was with submitting poetry. It was just a big deal that no one had picked up my poetry yet, that I wasn't getting published. I really had a crisis about the establishment, but I'm okay right now. One thing that is going to make me much better is that I will be sharing every piece that I will be making during NaNoWriMo, so that has made me feel much better, at least in the sharing aspect. I just really felt like I was missing out on sharing my writing with people, and it makes me really happy to just, not even the fact that like being validated and like people enjoy my writing, just the fact that like it's being seen and like knowing that it's not just going into the void. So that's one thing. Also, I did decide what I was going to be writing about. After the last video, I was on the phone with my friend Ben and I wrote out a bunch of things, and then I ended up going with the idea of fragmentation. There is a couple of poems that I've written before that I'll put on screen here, and I'll just kind of put them off to the side while I'm talking. But they have this more like spaced out style. They have a lot of dashes. They're in this kind of like airy space. I think it's atmospheric to me. I think it really puts you in a place, and I think it's in a slightly more loose style of writing than I normally write. I think I still kind of write in a loose way where it's kind of putting you in the place of someone's body and mind, and also trying to get you to feel with all of your senses and put you in a certain kind of place. But the twist with all of the nano stuff is that I've written 2 poems before that are very different from my other poetry, that people have told me are very different from my other poetry, that I've put off to submission, so I can't actually share with you right now. That one is called The Book of Mark, which is about Mark Zuckerberg, roughly, and then like Facebook and like all of those things and how it's gotten out of hand with like political speech and just it was more of like a commentary type of thing, which is not something that I really do, but I did it in that kind of style with a lot of like dashing and spacing. And so it was very similar to those other poems. And then I wrote another poem using this like prompt book, and it was about like a connection between 2 people. And for some reason, I saw lovers, and I I thought to write about Elon Musk and Grimes and their little alien baby, uh, and that poem, and that was about space, and like it was about pregnancy as kind of like a infection and like containment and being ejected and like those kinds of things. So that's how that poem went, but both people who have read those poems said that they're very much like not in the style of my other kinds of writing, like they don't have the same kind of voice. So I've made a very detailed plan on several post-its over here as to what I'm actually going to do this month. So, let's read the first post-it note. The first one, I said that I would be working on the intersection of the body, nature, and emotion with technology and modernity. And the things that I'll be working on is starting with a lot of fragmentation and style. The way that we'll be doing that first is I have a bunch of these like word stickers that I've had. I've had a lot of stickers for a really long time. But one sheet is from this like really old band deodorant ad that was in like 17 or something forever ago. But I have a bunch of random words that are on there. And then I also have, what were these called? You know, these like rude bunny? I don't even know what this bunny was called. I have a lot of those stickers, and I'm gonna be using those stickers to write some poetry for the first couple of days, so that I can really work on the fragmentation and work on the disconnect between me and the writing, so that I can work on bringing it together in revisions. A couple of other fun ones is I have a copy of Looking for Alaska that's all cut up. One of my best friends in high school hollowed out that book for me and like did this little art thing. So I have all the pages of Looking for Alaska essentially that I've done this before with, where I just kind of cut out words from different pages. So I'm gonna do a couple of exercises with that as well. And then I also wanted to do another fun one, which is, you know, in Animal Crossing, how you have your little character card and you can kind of change your description. I think mine's like sleepy egg or something like that, flaky egg, something really random. But I want to randomize some of those just so I can find some really weird phrases and maybe some interesting titles to work with. And then as far as content, I really like what I did with the Grimes poem, the fact that it was a relationship, but it's disconnected because it's this thing that's in your body and you feel like you're, I don't know, a piece of machinery, which is a very Grimes, Elon Musk kind of thing, I felt like, with that poem, but it was also about love and pregnancy. And then other things, what was the other one? Oh, more things that I'm hoping will help connect it to the body and make it feel less modern and technological is I am reading Anai Mitchell's Working on a Song, which I have in my work bag. By the way, I got a job, at least a temp job. I will be doing a temp to hire job at a construction company, essentially. That's the roughest way to describe it, for at least the next 2 months. And then if they like me, I'll be full-time. But otherwise, I have a lot of random time in the afternoons because I don't drive, and there's like a workroom I can sit in the afternoons that they basically said that I could sit there for like 2 hours and just like read and work and do stuff. This is Anaya Mitchell's Working on a Song. She wrote Hadestown, and I feel like all of the songs in Hadestown are very much timeless. They really put you into another kind of space that is perfect with the Greek gods, because the fact is that like it's Greek mythology, and somehow the place of Hadestown doesn't feel like today, it doesn't feel like the past, it feels like all of them at once. And I love that about this musical, and I'm really hoping that reading this is going to help me with that mindset a lot. What was the other thing? I'm going back to all these post-its. What did I write? And I will be, of course, listening to Grimes. There's also an album by Andrew Huang that I used to listen to all the time called Magical Body. It's an ambient album, but it's also, again, called Magical Body. And it's very technological and just all of these interesting audio things that are happening. I think one song called Gradients is like 36 minutes or something. So yeah, those are going to be an experience to write to, and I think those will be very interesting. I'm also watching this K-drama called Startup. It's about startups, it's about businesses, it's about AI. Also hoping all of those terms, along with starting an office job, you know, they'll sink in. There will be something about Microsoft Teams in there, I'm sure. But I'm expecting all of these poems to very much start outside the body, start in this very disconnected way, and then there's going to be heavy revision probably in the later weeks of the month, and just in whenever I start to do revision on these poems, that'll be bringing them back into the body, bringing them back into that kind of emotional, natural, like where you can feel it and touch it kinds of things. But anyways, that is officially what I'm doing, and it is November 1 now, so I'm gonna edit this video, quickly post it on Patreon, and then this will be up to you guys on the 2nd on YouTube. And that means that I have to start filming what I'm writing tonight, because Twitter voted that I'm doing vlogs this week. So I'm doing vlogs for the first week of Nano, and they're all going to be really short and probably very little editing just because I'm going to be busy, and I'm bad at weekly vlogging, especially keeping up with weekly vlogs. So I think if they're just short vlogs, I'll be okay with that. So I'm going to try my best to do my writing sprints tonight, chill out a little bit, because I'm really nervous for my job tomorrow. It's only 7:36. I really wanted to stream, but I'm just so anxious right now that I think I should really just do my night routine, prep however I need to. They're gonna teach me how to do stuff at my job tomorrow. I'm gonna be okay. But anyways, I love you guys. check out the prompts. If you need some extra stuff, follow me on Instagram, follow me on Twitter. I'm on Twitter all the time. But I love you. I'll be working on all of these poems and I'll be sharing them as they're finished throughout Twitter and Instagram and everywhere else. Love you. See you soon. Take care of yourselves. Hydrate. Take your meds. Sleep well. Love yourselves. Goodbye.